What's up, Wildlings? Colin here, the Wild CEO. Today's video is why most diets fail. I'm going to give you some of the big misunderstandings and just the wrong way to go into diets, the way most people do. Also some of the mindset around dieting. I actually think dieting is kind of stupid. I think there's just a natural human diet that is going to require subtle tweaks, but that's through years and years of studying, talking about these things. And for the average person, I do understand that a diet is going to be a set of guidelines that kind of make things simple for them. And there are a lot of options. There's a lot of confusion, which is, again, one of the pitfalls. So we'll kind of get into that. But I'm hoping to illustrate some of the things that maybe you recognize in yourself in diets that you've tried, as well as some of the kind of signposts of where to go, of where you could find a diet that might work for you. Let's get to it. The first one is not understanding the basics of human biology. There is, in my opinion, a natural human diet. It is based on looking back to our ancestors, how we lived before the advent of agriculture, when we became an agrarian civilization around the world, and humans basically, for better or worse, became farmers, which led to civilization and to all the modern issues we have in our modern world today. It's all a result of farming and settling down. Before then, our ancestors lived as hunter-gatherers. We ate everything from nature. We would go out and expend energy to find it. Right? The food was real. It was alive. Today, our food is dead and processed and, et cetera. You have stuff like this, okay? Not understanding from a baseline foundation what makes a human healthy based on what you eat, I think is the number one thing, because from there, you have the foundation for everything else. And there's a lot of confusion around this. There's a lot of misconception around this. There's a lot of people that try to cite research and study and science. And unfortunately, that is always going to be lacking for one reason. And that one reason that you need to, from here on out, understand anytime somebody tries to cite science or research is you cannot lock humans in a cage, and you cannot control for every single variable in their life. And therefore, you cannot make conclusive 1 + 1 = 2 statements with science as it relates to food and human biology and human nutrition. You can't do it, right? You can only do research that might point you in a direction, but you can't actually disprove it, which makes it observation-based research, which is very, 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 very lacking. All right. Now, I don't want to do a whole video on that. It really deserves its own video. So let's just focus on why diets fail today. Number one thing is not understanding human biology. So first, understand the difference between real food and not real food. Obviously, on this end, we have not real food. We have processed, refined grains and things like that. Okay. We have things that you won't find in nature. For the most part. And then we have some real foods over here. We have some spices, which is basically just organic ground spice ground up. We have some beef tallow, which is from a clean animal. You will find that in nature. We have organic turmeric, which you will find in nature. We have fish oil, which is made from whole fatty fish. You will find that in nature. And also the ingredients are treated well and it's minimally processed, etc. This is going to be closer to the real food end of the spectrum, where this stuff that's heavily processed, heavily refined, very palatable, designed to taste good, have like sugar and other seed oils and things like that. This is going to be on the not real food end of the spectrum. And so understanding these two, by understanding biology first, is the number one thing to get any eating plan correct. Now, I have a lot of other videos on this. This is a very deep topic. Ancestral health and ancestral eating is huge with a million rabbit holes. So I won't go into it today. Make sure you click that subscribe button and go look at some of my other videos, and you can get more on that in those. The number two reason that diets fail are because people are looking for quick and easy fixes and or hacks. They want a simple solution. Now, the next 2 points in this video are going to cover kind of why that's a misnomer and why that doesn't add up. But for the most part, I just want you to take a very quick moment to think to yourself, like, was I looking for an easy way out? Was I looking for a magic pill? Was I looking for like the miracle supplement? And as much as I love supplements, they're not going to solve all of your health and nutrition problems. They are going to be a supplement to your diet, which should be based on, number one, understanding biology, understanding the difference between real food and not real food. Get your mind right. It's not going to be easy, fast, or quick. This is going to be for most people, if it's a weight loss program or if you're just trying to clean up your diet in general, we're talking months. 3 months min to see result. Ideally 6. Ask yourself, can you really go that long and stay committed most of the time? Not perfect, right? But stay committed most of the time, and then be patient with the process. If the answer to that question is no, then don't be surprised if you don't get the results you're after. Okay, number 3 really could have its own video, and it really probably is the number one way to stay on a diet, not cooking. If you are not willing to get in the kitchen, or if you are not making an effort to get in the kitchen. And that could be as simple as getting a crock pot and throwing a bunch of ingredients together and then having it for later when you get home, right? This doesn't have to be, master class chef or anything like that. You don't have to have amazing knife skills and have all the fancy gear. You can cook food that's delicious and flavorful in a very limited amount of time. We have so much technology to help you do that. When you default to this kind of garbage, because it's easy, convenient, it's tasty, whatever, and you ignore prepping things with like these type of things at home, that is the number one reason why diets fail. Because people do not invest the time and energy into making food that tastes good that they will eat. And when you don't like the food that you're eating, or if it's bland or boring or whatever, you're gonna diverge to this. You're gonna diverge to the restaurant food and the easy and convenient stuff. Okay, so that's a really big one. If you're gonna go into a diet, any diet, no matter what it is, you have to be prepared to cook and prepare your own food. Ideally from raw, real ingredients that are as close to nature as possible. Final reason that diets fail are because people give too much into their pleasure center, dopamine producing food, and convenience. We get hungry, we get cranky, we're like, I don't wanna cook, so we go eat at the restaurant. Or we grab something out of the cabinet and we snack. Giving into these urges too often, because you're gonna do it sometimes, we're all gonna do it sometimes, that's fine. But giving into your urges too often, whether that is an urge to not cook and go for something easy, or whether that's an urge to get something that's really tasty and have dessert and have this process, whatever. When you do that too often, you create a platform for yourself, if you will, that is on a negative downward trajectory. Because every bad decision you make from a hormonal perspective and from a mindset and habit perspective increases the likelihood you're gonna keep making those bad decisions. When you spike insulin from eating very heavily processed grain and sugar-laden food, your body crashes hard, gets hungry again, and then you want more of the same exact crap. It's a negative spiral. You have to find a baseline where you can have this stuff maybe once a week or every few days, and constantly try to push the amount of time in between having these cheap foods and having real food prepped at home ideally as the base. You want to keep this something like 80 to 90% of the time and have this 5 to 10% of the time. And that's only if you're the type of person that has to have it. There's nothing wrong with eliminating this stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying goodbye to that forever, okay? Real food as the center base. And then understanding some of these main points about why diets fail, about why people don't think about their eating and their food in a very holistic way. They don't account for variables that are gonna pop up because it's really hard. We live in a modern industrialized food world where food is available everywhere and it's very tasty. It's engineered by scientists to be as tasty and as addicting as possible. Billions of dollars are spent on food marketing. Understand these things before you go into it. And even if you don't consider yourself on a diet, we all have an eating plan. The diet is whatever you eat on a regular basis. Everybody's on a diet because you're alive and you eat food. Be cognizant of these things that affect if you're going to be closer to the good end of the spectrum, the healthy long-term with longevity and feeling good and not getting sick, or the crap end of the spectrum, which is going to lead to cancer and heart disease and disrepair and all the problems of our modern industrialized Western world are at the epicenter. Food is at the epicenter. So I hope you thought this video was useful. Make sure you drop a comment below. What are some things that you've struggled with when you're trying to get a new eating plan or a diet, for lack of a better word? What are some other things that you've observed in other people and of yourself? Maybe some things that will help other people that watch this video. Let's build it below, right? Let's get that discussion going. And then let me know if you'd like to see other videos like this and or what topics you'd like me to cover. Make sure you hit that subscribe, bell button. I'm gonna be posting a lot more. We're gonna go deep into some of these topics. I want to help you live better, eat better, with a lifestyle focused on real food and an understanding of your human biology. So that's what the Ancestral Mind is about. And make sure you check out the podcast over at theancestralmind.com. You can also find it on iTunes and Spotify, etc. And a really quick way to get started is go to theancestralmind.com and download the PDF, 7 Principles of Living Wild PDF, which will be right on the homepage. That's gonna give you a very short, quick PDF, 7 of the main important things that you have to cover to be a healthy, thriving human animal, because you're Homo sapiens sapiens. We all are. And so you need to get back in touch with the wild and with your biology to live a long, functioning, awesome, healthy life. And that's what I want for you, and it's what I want for your kids, and I want for my family, and I want for my son's generation. Stuff matters, okay? Thanks for watching.